The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: Heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 94 of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. As most of the time, I'm Duncan, one of your hosts. Joining me tonight are my friends, and they are...
Ryan.
Jack.
Jamie.
And John.
And we are glad to have you listening to us this evening. Well, evening for us when we're recording, whatever time it is that you're listening. Because we've got actually a pretty interesting and kind of in-depth episode for you here tonight. But before we go really into what we're going to be talking about, we're going to go ahead and turn this over to our sponsors. And we want to say thank you to them. So, sponsors.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
And now that's done. I'm going to go ahead and throw out a preliminary
And thank you,
shout-out.
our patrons.
Yes, to our patrons for everything they do for us that helps us bring the show to you for your listening pleasure with your ear holes. So, as always, let's go ahead and send this over to the what have you done lately hobby-wise? And I will go ahead and send it to Jack to begin. Jack, what have you done hobby lately?
I did a hobby. And I'm currently doing another hobby. So that is like two hobbies in 1 week. Which has to be a record. Hobby number one was just taking apart the inside of a mastodon. Because it went all askew on me, all like wiggly, biggly, boogly, boogly, timey wimey stuff. So I took that apart, scraped off glue, and then started putting it back together. And I put paint on it this time, so that means it's going to stay that way. And now I'm currently putting together Mark 6 Marines, trying to figure out why I have been forsaken by my religious deity. Because why are they so many parts? I'm not a scale.
The new Mark 3s are the exact same way. So.
I'm not a scale modeler. Like if I wanted to put together 87,000 parts, I'd buy like a Panzer or a Tiger or a KB2 or a Sherman or a T-88, a B-52. You get what I'm saying, right?
No, I get you.
Okay. Well, since you responded to that, Duncan, you're up next.
Mother of chainsaws. What have I done? Oh yeah, I worked on Rampagers again because there's a never-ending stream of these ugly bastards that I have to keep working on.
Oh, you're
like 72.
Yeah, I've got 30 of them now that are ready. 20 ready for decals. 10 beyond that are ready for their final weathering wash, eyes, and then their final seal. 20 that are ready for decals and then a seal, and then their final weathering wash and steps beyond that. I've also got a little Horus X-Men that I've got a little bit of assembly done on, who, after I finish these 30 guys, I might work on him a little bit just to get a little bit of palate cleanse before I move on to the next 30 of these guys. So that's my plan for these guys for the near future is to, during the month of September, have these 30 100% completed and have the next 30 about close to this level of completion before the end of September.
I got good news for you.
Oh, what is that, Jack?
Without saying anything, at a special event that could be in the works, I think you need to take your list and double it. That way you can supply 4 people with stuff to play with. So let's go ahead and double it.
So what you're telling me is I now need to have 120 rampagers?
Whatever the number is whatever the number is, man. Like you need to go ahead and double it.
Just double it.
Double it.
Okay, so apparently my
All
mission
rampagers.
in life has to go ahead and have more rampagers. Okay, Jack, I am willing to do 120 rampagers for whatever reason this is. That's going to be ridiculous, I figure. But there's going to be one slight issue that I'm going to need you to personally address for me.
What's that?
And that's I'm going to need you to assemble 12 Land Raiders.
Well, the Land Raiders I know of are easily assembled.
Okay, then I'm going to need you to acquire and assemble 12 Land Raiders.
What do I get out of this?
To play with some of the Land Raiders.
I already bequeathed you my requirement for tribute. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that term.
Yes, that I paid you for, I do believe. Correct?
Yes, but I still did the thing.
I mean, you did the thing. But I did pay you for them. So I'm going to need you to come up with, I think it's 6 more.
Oh, that's nothing. That's like some shenanigans.
And then I'm going to need you to assemble them.
And meeting some guys in the street corner.
Yeah, I don't need you to paint them because I'll batch paint the shit out of these as needed. But you are absolutely going to have to spend some kind of time doing some kind of work on them because it's going to have to be done.
$20 is $20, man.
Yeah, you're going to have to assemble these raiders. I'll even give you the other raiders I haven't worked on yet. You can assemble them too.
No takes you backsies.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to need you to acquire 12 Land Raiders.
I think I know a guy. Hey, Jamie.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured was going to happen. But okay, if I need to bump it to 120, I'm seriously going to need help. I'm running out of regular Marine bodies, and regular Marine backpacks.
Need the little knivey things too.
So the knives I've actually found or their phalanx blades. I've actually found an online retailer who is, strangely enough, is in Poland, who makes some that I really like that I've actually been using for these guys. So I've been sprinkling these in with the regular Rampager phalanx blades, and I think I'm going to continue just using him because I think they look better and they look more involved when put on a model. And they're definitely more rigid and more durable than the actual Forge World versions because those are really thin and kind of flimsy. The other ones are a lot more durable.
How do you spell that?
P-H-A-L-A-X. Phalanx. F-A-L-A-X.
Isn't that a news station?
Probably. I don't know where.
I think it's the sister station of WKRP.
Sure. I'll go with that.
And since I know. What else have you been up to, Duncan?
Honestly, that's all I've been up to at this point. Nothing else special or fun. So that's about it for this. Brian, what have you done hobby-wise lately?
Awesome.
Mostly just tinkered with a couple odds and ends. I was able to actually play a game yesterday evening with a gentleman. That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I definitely don't have 12 Land Raiders on my mind like some people.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jack.
You're welcome.
Duncan, could you cut the number of Land Raiders down if you just use Spartans?
No,
No?
Spartans are not dedicated transports.
Gotcha.
I could tell
How
you
about
how
you,
to
Jamie?
cut them down.
So I've actually been hobbying. As John put it, I built White Scars, Toys for Tots, Army stuff. I built three missile boats, as I call them, the suicide what do you call them? Suicide couches. So 3 land speeders with missiles on them and multi-meltas. And then my urchins made off with my good cutter, so I had to order a new cutter. So I got one of the new 3.0 Rue tools off of Amazon, which I've been happy with so far. Very, very sharp. Very, very sharp. I've already bled from it to go with last week's episode. And what else? Oh, I got magnets to put on the land speeders, and then I'm looking up parts right now for to add more fluff to the White Scars. Fluffy parts.
Fluffy parts are always good.
And oh yeah, I forgot. I also printed out a trophy, some trophies for Blake and Christopher's events coming out. It was like a Thunderhammer and a Chainsword trophy. So
Sounds cool.
That's about it. And I guess we got John left.
Yep.
If John's awake.
Yeah. Yep. I'm here. So I'm a little tired tonight because I was getting ready for the Texas Open, which was today. And so the last week since our recording, I busted my butt working on a bunch of stuff. So I got the Russes completely painted. I got them sealed. I got them decaled. I got the last 2 life wards that I needed for my list sealed, painted, and decaled. Then I started working on finishing up the Sentinel, so I got all the crew installed, I got them flattened, and then I got the canopies installed so they wouldn't lose their gloss shine. Then I started working on some of the ogres that I got printed by Michael. I was hoping to use those in the ZM game, but some other things came up, so I didn't end up being able to use those, but I got them primed, and then I got them based, and then I started putting down the spot colors on those, and so they're weren't quite finished, but they're definitely finished enough to play with and try out some lists with. And I got all of that stuff done and some quick repairs on some of the models that didn't quite make it home from Adepticon intact before Friday. And so Friday I went up, came in a little late. I was having trouble getting somebody to sit the dog, so didn't end up getting to play in the Apocalypse game that they had going on, but I was able to kind of hang out with everybody and set up my army for some photos, which I put on my Instagram, and I'll put on the event page for our podcast of all the different armies that were there, some of the photos that I took. Saturday was 2 games, and so game 1 I played World Leaders, and then game 2 I played again, I apologize, I'm really tired. So I played Word Bearers, and then today for game 1 I played a different World Leaders, and then for game 2 I played a militia list from Martin from I forget his podcast name, but he's out of Oklahoma, and he comes down here occasionally for games. So I could say that the Oops All Sentinel list is definitely kind of what I was thinking along the lines of. It's not absolutely great as far as scoring units go. So having those 2 Sentinel squads to be able to score is really kind of a hamper in survivability. I'm thinking now, if you're not willing to take the unit that you're going to build an army around, and it's a normal choice. You probably shouldn't build an army around it. When I look at the basic Sentinel that's fast attack that becomes troops with line, it's really kind of crappy. So T5, like I've said, with 2 wounds, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3, so it hits on 4s, and with a multi-laser, so you're only getting 2 shots at rank 6. Whereas the Elite Sentinel, which is armed with a Volkite caliber with ballistic skill and weapon skill 4, so it hits on 3s. It's got a 3-up save. It still has the problem with T5 and 2 wounds and leadership 7 like the other one. And the fact that these are both cavalry, which means they can definitely break, and they did occasionally break this weekend and run off the table because they fall back 3d6. They've got some issues with them that way. One of the funny things about the Sentinels is the fast attack Sentinel that becomes troops has a special rule that says if they flat out, that they gain a 5-up cover save. Can anyone tell me how a cavalry model is supposed to flat out? Because that's a vehicle movement. I assume they meant run or something like that. So that's what I use. I used it once during all 4 games, and I never used it before. And then the test games that I was running. So it's kind of interesting, but it runs into the same problem that all shrouded saves really run into, in the fact that it is something that can be easily ignored by a lot of the Legion special rules and special characters that already ignore some of the night fight issues. One of the things that really helped was that these games, instead of rolling randomly for night fight, both players agreed on whether they wanted it or not, and then you rolled on it. So it was a modifier if both players wanted it or didn't want it, or one player wanted it instead. So most players I played against didn't want it, and so we never really ran into using it. The one game I did end up having night fight, Felix is kind of famous for having a lot of drones and NPCs and things like that that are kind of in the game. And the game that I had with night fight, there were some drones that were close enough that I could just shoot those off the table, and instead of having to worry about trying to reach out and range some enemy infantry. And so that was fun. But overall, I had a blast at the event. As you can tell, I'm kind of hoarse because we a lot of talking. The event itself was great. Venue was actually air conditioned really well. I was actually almost chilly on day 2. So
yeah, and in the past it's had issues, right?
Oh, that's Texas Open has had issues being in a horse track, and so this was actually held in the basement of the Hyatt and DFW Airport. And so a lot of people had flown in, and they didn't even have to worry about getting a shuttle or doing anything like that. And they just walked off the airplane and straight into the gaming hall.
Nice.
Like I said before, though, we did, as the podcast, donated more than a few prizes and things. Sorry, I've lost my tab for my notes. Just a second while this loads. I donated a couple of different prizes for just kind of the handout. So in Furic, what they do is after everyone has won kind of the overall awards, they hand out raffle tickets, and everyone comes up and pulls one raffle ticket. And then if you kind of pick from the table of things. So in this instance, we had a bunch of brush sets and a bunch of other stuff, and I donated some pins and some stickers from the podcast, as well as some necklaces and things like that I'd kind of accrued over the years through some of the GW stuff. I also gave out not my first rodeo prize, and this went to one of the new guys, Mark. This was actually his first few games of Heresy were this event. And then Eric, who in the past won one of our giveaways for a built rhino for our FAQ contest. Eric won the GOAT prize, greatest of all time, because he's like me. He likes to, kind of go all out and make sure that he's got everything together. So he has dice that match his army. He's got dice bags that match his army. But he went a little further than me. He's got tattoos that match his World Leader's army.
Very nice. I approve of that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So like I said, I handed those out, and we gave away a bunch of stuff to everybody. I walked away with a couple of brush sets and some more weathering powders and pigments. And some fixer, and so I look forward to using those and some of the stuff that I've got planned coming up. And then Lucas, Eric, and I talked about some of the Furic stuff that's coming up, and so I'll be definitely designing some new terrain features and things that are coming up for that. But definitely after I finish Blake's Table, which is the first thing that I'm going to be starting on Monday and during our next week's hobby hangout. Speaking of next week, that's everybody. We want to go ahead and roll into the news.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yep, that seems like a good thing to go into.
All right, so this week, Games Workshop preview article was all the Mechanicum stuff that we've gotten previewed before. So coming up for orders is the Triaros, Mechanicum Transport, the Thralls, the Magos, the Thalax, the Thalax, or Castellax and Thalax, as well as the larger robot. I forget his name.
Forgetting. Hold on a second. It's the not the Thalax, but the
Thanatar.
Yep.
Yep. So the Thanatar with Plasma Cannon is also coming out, as well as a set of dice finally. So the Mechanicum are getting Heresy dice, and so that comes with the matching scatter die and marbled red dice.
Had Arch Magos been previewed?
Yeah, he was one of the ones that was previewed at the beginning. He was missing from the box that came out last week, though. Yeah. As well as we're also getting the book that's going to be coming. So Schism of Mars is going to come out as well.
The Martian.
And that's going to have rules for not only normal Mechanicum, but also, as we saw in some of the preview articles leading up to this, it's going to have Dark Mechanicum. And it could have actual, it's kind of hinted that it's going to have actual rules for some of the demon engines and things like that. It specifically mentions Blood Slaughterers in one of the preview articles that came out before. What are our thoughts on the EW releases? Because I've got a bunch more other stuff coming too.
I'm excited that Mechanicum's finally coming out.
Yay, Mechanicum in plastic.
I'm excited about the new book.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the new book.
Long overdue.
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy with that.
It's something. It makes the entry into that army a lot easier now. Like, I am not by any means a expert on that army, but now I could look at it and be like, well, maybe that's something I'd pick up instead of this completely having to get nothing but, Forge World.
Yep. And it's going to include new missions, which I think we all like in the book. And
it's going to be interesting to see what they're priced at since the new box that came out. Well, we've got the price set for the box. We just don't have price sets for these individual boxes.
No, somebody posted the prices today in the Discord.
Oh, okay.
They did. And if you'll give me a second, I'll be right there to pull that up and read it to us. So, according to the Horus Heresy Martian Civil War, so the book is going to be $60. The Archimagos Prime is going to be $38. The Thanatar is $105. The Castellax Maniple is $80. The Tech Thralls Covenant is $80. The Triaros is $92. And the Thalax is $80 as well.
My assumption is going to be is we won't be able to get the book from our Feligalis, right? Like the other ones.
So this is coming up as this guy's local game store said that they could get them for that, or they were selling them for that. So if the friendly locals can get it, bravo. That would be a wonderful change and a very, very welcome one.
Absolutely.
I think the last book they could get too, but it was kind of like they had
the only book that was limited was the recap book with all the battle stuff. Yep.
The exemplary battles or whatever. That was limited.
There's gonna be some of the stuff from the current ones that haven't been included in a book are gonna be in here. So I'm guessing it's probably gonna be the Martian stuff. Since there's also gonna be additional rules. I'm guessing again that's gonna be the Sentinels. Sorry, not the Sentinels. Jeez. Yeah, I don't remember what the hell I'm talking about.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to move on to. Did you want to cover something else?
No, just happy. I mean, like I wasn't expecting a book this soon, and they're letting loose like with everything they got for AdMech. They're not going to trickle it out. It's just like bam, it's all out on the table. So
yeah, it's a little expensive. So I mean, Mechanicum itself is points wise a little more expensive too. So you're not going to need a ton of infantry. But the fact that the tech thralls are $80 for 20 is, and considering like 2 points a piece is a little pricey.
Isn't that? I mean, like that's what the troops have been coming out as. Though I thought the Mark 6s and Mark 3s were roughly the same price.
80 for 20.
Yeah, they are. But I'm saying that you're going to need a lot more.
No, I know. They're a lot. The thralls are a lot smaller than the Marines too. So I mean, I get it. It's saying just as a troop, it's like it's a troop choice slot, and that's what they're pricing it as, versus the actual materials going into it. But whatever.
Yep. Yeah, so it's definitely some stuff to look forward to next weekend as far as official GW is concerned.
And that goes on pre-sale next weekend or sale?
Pre-sale
next weekend. Speaking of next weekend, so we're not going to be recording next weekend, so we're not going to be able to say we're coming up to Space Marine 2. The Warhammer merch, we'd kind of complained in the past about the price of the Space Marine custom controllers being some 200 and something. They've definitely fallen in price. They're down to now $159.99 each, which is still psychotically expensive for a basically hydro dip controller. It's still the basic controller, which runs at like $50-$60.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it's about the price of 3 normal controllers.
Yeah, which is better than almost as expensive as the system itself, like it was before.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the people that paid the $250 or whatever, $254 or whatever it was originally.
Yeah, this is the second or third time they've done this with some of the Warhammer merch. The collector's edition had like a $50 price drop after 2 months of being out. Like they keep doing this. It's almost like they're yeah, it's a little loopy.
It seems kind of off, but I don't know. It's just odd.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they can't figure out their own pricing structures or something.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it. It seems like it's not like the company that is doing it, who's making the stuff, but GW's trying to figure out how much they're gonna get as their licensing fee or something. I'm not really sure. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also for Space Marine 2 releases, Starforged has put out a Space Marine Second Company Ultramarines banner, which is the company banner as a fridge magnet. I picked up the other Ultramarine one that already came out. These are kind of neat. This one's a little more pricey. The other ones were $15, which is about the range if you're looking at it for a magnet. This one is $20. So for some reason, $5 more expensive because it happens to coincide with the Space Marine 2 release again. And they also have a Ultramarines Courage and Honor pin. If anyone played Space Marine 1, you remember that the Ultramarines logo had a skull in it, and then it had wings on it as you unlocked more and more of your rage meter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what this looks like, except gold. It's a little pin you can put on. It is also $19. It is a... Let's see if they can show how wide it is. Nope. So it's about a 2-pin. If anyone's seen kind of normal GW pins, they kind of put one pin is about the size of a postage stamp, and this one is 2 pins wide. So it's a little bigger. It's also the new kind of Starforged design, so it comes with either a pin back or a magnet back, and they give you kind of some 3M sticky tack to put on the back of it, depending on what you want to put on it. So it's kind of neat. It's going to be about 3 inches wide. So if it's something you're interested in, I would say probably kind of to pick up. I like putting a bunch of these pins and stuff like that on my army cases, so I definitely know whose army case it is from a distance to make sure, something didn't fall over or I didn't pick up the wrong case on the way out.
Makes sense. I mean, I cover my my bags with all kinds of bling and stuff from everywhere, so I kind of know when it's mine.
Yep.
I fart in my bag.
Not I pretend I'm surprised.
That's why my last bag smelled so bad.
Yep. That just fits.
Other than that, yeah, that's all of our news this coming week. Oh, we have one. Actually, there is one more minor thing. There is Nova Open coming next week, and so Games Workshop has announced that they're going to do another online reveal on Thursday, the 29th of August at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And since I will be home at that time, if nothing else, I will be on our Discord watching that and waiting for people to come on board. So you're welcome to join me for a live watch party.
And that's the 30th?
29th.
29th, so Thursday.
Yep.
Okay.
It should be fairly interesting to see what they come up with.
Didn't they cancel their last one?
They had some no, they didn't have Heresy in the last one. So this one, they specifically mentioned that there will be Heresy stuff. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we finally get our roadmap for the future, since we've kind of run out of room.
Well, that's what they said, that this was made, whatever reveal is mainly going to deal with his roadmaps for all the different lines that they're going to be talking about. So yeah, I would expect that. That would be nice.
Jamie, will you be my roadmap?
Ooh.
Just say no. It's safer that way. I promise.
Okay.
Not since the accident.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
All right, that is officially all the news we have.
Okay.
So I was gonna hold on. I was gonna say one of our sponsors is releasing a new paint color next week. So
yep. Monument Hobbies.
They have a new Nova Orange color that's coming out, and it'll be on their website supposedly next weekend. And
and that is a bright orange, very bright.
It'd be cool for doing cautions, signs, and loading trucks and things like that for terrain.
Yep, because the current orange is, I'm not gonna say it's bad. I use it a lot actually, especially
it's
on
more like a burnt orange.
Yeah, it's kind of I was gonna say it's a little more pinkish orange maybe with that. I mean, I use it a lot for like Martian dust type looking stuff. So it's not like neon orange, I guess you would say. It looks neon orange, but when it dries, it usually dries a little bit duller. So, but yeah, Nova Orange is the new color. So. I think they're actually supposed to have it. I don't know if they're having a booth at Nova next weekend, but they're having a vendor that's like one of their top tier vendors is basically doing their booth for them, and they should have it at the event, if I heard correctly. But anyways, that's it.
Didn't they also release a new all-in-one paint set? That's like if you want to break into Monument. It's like takes $1 off a bottle. Didn't I hear that someplace?
I believe they did. I think I saw that on their Facebook ads. Hold on.
Monument. We're gonna vamp here because I am not gonna cut any of this out.
Let's see.
Vamping. Oh. Are you still awake, John?
Expansion.
Oh my!
Oh yeah, I forgot. I turned my ad blocker on, so I can't see any of the stuff. So yeah. So.
So there's a base set that I see, and then multiple expansions. There's a 69 color pro. Is that it?
Yeah.
Super duper range.
Yeah.
So it's 69 colors for $250.
Yeah.
Does that include all the special paints from the various people being released in it?
No.
Here is what it has. It has the base set. It has the expansion 1, expansion 3, expansion 4, The metallic set, 3 washes, brown, black, and flesh, and that's it. So
Okay,
it doesn't have 2, and which is Ninjon or whatever.
Okay,
It does,
yeah. So it's not their specially sponsored ones.
No.
Okay, that's still a great set.
1, 4, and yeah, it does. And 1, 4, and 3, and then all the named ones that are like signature series, it does not have.
Okay, good. Now the best part about that is you could actually get 5% off if you were to order that with our code through our sponsor.
Thank you for bringing that back around to where I was heading, Duncan.
You're absolutely welcome, sir.
You're welcome, man. I still like Pac-Man, and it's
what a
good.
commanding segue. How perhaps that could take us into our next topic.
It could. At this point, shall we? Do we want me to go ahead and say what we're going to be talking about, or would you care to?
Go ahead.
If you would, please, sir.
Oh, I said you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, then dagnabbit. So, we've had a number of expansion books, and we're going to take a look at something specific out of Beta Garmin, for the Battle for Beta Garmin today. That being the Legion Company Command Squad. Something that I feel sometimes gets a little bit slept on compared to other options that are out there that may be situationally better and for the most part are better, but this one's actually not a bad choice. It is kind of a restricted choice, but it's not bad. I'll go over the base bit for them.
You do that, and then I'll cover kind of why we had to do this, because I honestly think a lot of people, I just realized this now, but I think a lot of people have been doing this wrong. Actually, I'll do this now just in case. There are 2 types of command squads out there right now, thanks to Beta Garmin. There's the normal command squad out of the Legionis Astartes books that we're all used to, the Legion Command Squad. And then in Beta Garmin, there is the Legion Company Command Squad. Yep. And at face value, a lot of people are like, well, why would I take a Legion Company Command Squad? They kind of suck. They're cheaper. They're not as nice. They've got, they don't have as many special characteristics that I like. They can take different weapons. And if you look closely at the Legion Command Squad, they have a special rule called Retinue. And Retinue says that they can only be selected to join characters with Master of the Legion. So you've got a little bit of an issue there, in that a lot of folks, in the past, people were talking about, I could have a command squad for my Moritat, or I can have one for my Centurion, whatever. And so the issue was, well, no, you can't really. So the Beta Garmin Legion Company Command Squad is specifically designed to be able to join Centurions as well as the Abate character that came out in Beta Garmin. So these specific command squads have some of the bonuses, some different abilities that we're going to talk about today, and kind of where you would take them.
Yeah,
I will let Duncan finish.
So, Legion Company Command Squad, stat line: movements, Marine normal 7, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 4, toughness, strength 4, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 3 up armor save. And this is important because they don't have any option to get Artificer. So that's one thing to remember. But for 80 points, you get 4 dudes with that, each of them with a bolter, a bolt pistol, and standard grenades. They get Relentless, Chosen Warriors, and Company Command. Company Command is Legion Company Command Squad can only be selected as part of a detachment that includes at least 1 Legion Opte or Legion Centurion model. A unit selected in this matter is considered a Command Squad, and the Opte or Centurion models refer to their leader. Basically, he's the sergeant for them, and they go with him. They don't use a Force Org slot. It's considered the same unit as the model selected as him. Must be deployed with him, and he cannot leave them. It cannot be selected without a leader or without having something else that opens them up for selection. So you just can't just throw one out there as its own unit. They do also have the access to getting a company standard, which is All units, all of the controlling players' units within the same variant of Legion Astartes rule within 6 inches of a friendly model with a company standard are considered to have leadership characteristics of 9 when resolving morale or pinning tests, but not psychic tests or tests. In addition, all models in a unit that includes this gain line as long as they remain part of that unit. The benefit is lost if the model with the standard itself dies. Now, like on other command squads before, you can add, increase war gear, add more members. It's 18 points per new member. Nuncio Vox, Avexila, both 10 points. Company standards, 20 points. Augury scanners, 10 points. Bayonets are 1 point each, since all of them do come with a free bolter. Chain bayonets are 2 points each. Magna combi weapons are 10. Minor combis are 5. And these all go for everybody on these bits of gear. Shotguns are 2 points, and Nemesis bolters are 10. Anybody can take a chain sword for 2 points, heavy chain sword for 5, turnable weapon for 5, lightning claw for 5, power weapon for 5. No fists, no thunderhammers. Make note of that. Any of them can have a Volkite Serpenta if you can exchange your bolt pistol for it, or a hand flamer. Serpentas are 5, flamers are 2. Any of them can swap out its bolter and bolt pistol for a pair of lightning claws, and 2 of them can get a flamer for 2 points, a melta gun for 15, a plasma gun for 10, graviton for 15, heavy flamer for 10, heavy bolter for 15, or a missile launcher for 15. Now, they do have relentless, so if you still need to have them movable and everything, that's a good thing to have for them. They also can take, as a dedicated transport, a rhino, a drop pod, a termite assault drill. That's it. So, one thing that I'm going to make note of is in the company command squad. It says specifically, and this is just the very first sentence, a Legion company command squad may only be selected as part of a detachment that includes at least one Legion Opte or Legion Centurion model. It does not say you can have it for an Armistice or a Chaplain or a Moritat or anything like that. You have to be a bare bones Centurion model.
Are you
Yeah, I'm sure.
quadruply sure about that?
I'm 100% certain of what I'm reading out of the actual book right this second. Now, the problem is there's no fact that has come out for this book that says you can be a Centurion type or not a Centurion type.
Because the Consularis special rule doesn't change their unit type. They're still
I
a
agree
Legion
with
Centurion, but
I absolutely 110% agree with you. It makes sense. And the Legion Consularis special rule does seem to allow it this way, but it has not been spelled out officially by GW yet, one way or the other. So if you were using Battle Scribe or New Recruit, it may not tell you you can use this, but rules as written says you can.
Yep.
Rules as intended, we don't know. And it would be a great reason for us to possibly get a FAQ on this, but we haven't. So take this opinion and meandering as with a small grain of salt. Rule of Cool says yes. Rules written says yes. Official events, talk to the actual event runner before you do them. But John, go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as nitpicking goes, and I love to nitpick, I think this is going to be way down on the totem pole, just because of all the upgrades on the Centurion, even for the Consularis upgrades themselves, like the Centurion or the Chaplain even says, the Consul or the Centurion can buy these weapons, or the Centurion changes his weapons with these weapons. So I think, as far as nitpicking goes, this one is definitely. I think that you should be able to take the squad. But yeah, if you've got a stickler for everything must be spelled out or it can't be taken, I suppose you could run into those type of people before.
Yes. Thankfully, most people in Heresy are not that way. And I say that as it is absolutely something that I'm very glad to happily say. Most of the people who play Heresy aren't that much of a stickler. Some people can be, and when that happens, you gotta roll your punches. Anyway, so
Yeah,
moving
I think
on.
the weirder part's going to be the fact that the Legion command squad out of the main book can take all those type of mobility upgrades, jump pack, combat bike, jet bike. They can take those. Where this new company command squad can't take all those upgrades. So if you're taking a character that's going to take those upgrades, you really can't. You need to double check your rules to make sure you can take those.
Yep.
You may end up either A, leaving them behind, or B, making a completely illegal list that where you can't really take those things.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is that I think really where these guys kind of shine isn't quite with the even taking them with the commands with the a very specific console type. I think this squad actually makes a ye old fashioned generic Centurion worth taking. Not even a specific console, just a generic Centurion. And the reason I'm saying that, if you take a Centurion with just giving him only a Thunderhammer, okay? And then giving him the company command squad with the maximum amount of dudes, arming each one of them with a Magna Combi weapon, and chain swords, or in my case specifically, this one I've done this list with, chain axes, and 2 guys with power weapons, and then 2 other guys with multi-guns and the actual standard, geared up as they need to be. Every single person with them and their actual transport, and the Centurion, it's 479 points. Whereas if you look at a vet squad, geared up identically, except for the company standard, and in the place of the company standard, on one guy I gave a power fist because I could. That would be the sergeant, who I also gave artificer to. But identical gear, otherwise identical gear. Here with the command squad, you're 479, whereas with the base vet squad, you are 454. For that, you get identical stat lines, identical gear lines, identical rules, except now you have line with these guys, and you've got a character in there who can throw a Thunderhammer around and put down some serious ouch bang punches. And they all do keep relentless. So if you're using suicide terminate squads like I have in the previous edition and have thought about doing occasionally in the current edition, using these as dedicated things to get into behind the enemy lines and then be able to murder out vehicles, or God forbid knights, or God forbid a small titan with lots of melta-gun shots right up the butt, I don't think this is a bad option. Even not gearing them for hand-to-hand combat like I normally would, but gearing them for
shooting,
like suicide murder shoot squad, I think
Yeah.
it's not a bad option.
Or
And
if you want to go crazy, you could make the replacement recon squad, give them all sniper rifles or maybe 1 missile launcher.
Yep.
And since they're relentless and scoring, they can just walk wherever they want, snapping people left and right.
Yep. That's
that was
another
kind of my
really
thought.
nasty option.
That was kind of my thought, is to grab like the objectives with them.
Or you could do the exact same thing as our friend Joe out there has done. Hey, Joe. And throw grenade launchers on these people, and then the missile launchers as well. Since they're relentless, you can get the bolter shot and your grenade and your missiles and still be able to assault with them immediately after opening up with that much hell.
That's probably a pretty expensive squad then when you're adding in the.
It's less points. It's less points than than it is with Magnus. And I have well, hang on, I'll tell you how many points list it would be on my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'd cost right around 450, 47. Yeah, 449 is what you come up to with that. I mean,
Centurion too.
Yeah, plus you've got that Centurion, so then you could sit there, open up with bolter fire and frag grenades and 2 missiles, and then charge. And in that charge, you've got everybody with a close combat weapon. In my case, chain axes, and you've got a Thunderhammer running around in there as well, along with 2 other power axes for more AP2 punch. It could be a very nasty unit when used inappropriately or appropriately, depending on how you feel like using them. The only negative, you can't get an assault vehicle for them, but if you're using them as a suicide squad, you don't really need an assault vehicle. You're literally going to drop them in and murder something in the butt, then either hope they survive the return fire or come at me, bro, with yourself. So I think
you could always hide a champion in there or something like that. So that way, just kind of baiting people to try to charge you.
I mean, that's exactly what I personally think that the generic Centurion does really well. Because, I mean, he is still a Centurion. He may not have all the special bells and whistles out there, but he's still weapon skill 5, 3 attack model with a 2 up, 5 up. And in my case, when I built this list, a Thunderhammer to back it up. So, and they do all have Chosen Warrior. So you could then sit there and let him go to town on people and take a challenge from a big nasty freighter and feed that big nasty freighter one of the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, assuming that the rules work as intended or how we think they should work, and you can actually throw them with the various things like a chaplain or a champion or even a Moritat, they get better.
I don't think you can, though.
See, that's where it's weird.
Why couldn't you?
I
think the Moritat might be the only one that has an issue since he's got the bitter duty rule.
Page 104, the terminology.
Yep, that's a good point. And it's something I'm staring at also. I'll read it. A Legion Centurion, Cataphractii Centurion, or Tartaros Centurion that selects any console upgrade is thereafter referred to as a Legion Console. If a ruler's requirement specifically calls for a Legion Centurion, Legion Cataphractii Centurion, or Legion Tartaros, or Tartaros Centurion, then that requirement may only be fulfilled by a specific model called for, and that has not also selected a console upgrade. If a ruler requirement calls for a Legion console, then that requirement may only be fulfilled by a model that has that appropriate console upgrade. Both Legion Centurions and Legion consoles are a kind of HQ choice and may be chosen as warlords unless the console-specific rules state otherwise. So that does kind of back up the idea that you can't throw a console type onto a Centurion and then throw these guys in with the Centurion.
So, just thinking. Go ahead.
It's something I feel needs a little bit of an upgraded love or a fact love.
Yeah, because we had this problem in third. Remember, there was something where you could buy unit upgrades beforehand, but once you bought this other upgrade, then they became something different. You couldn't buy them anymore. Like they changed. It's like they're changing existence or something like that. Yeah. I remember specifically having stupid things like this where it's like, well, I'm not buying the command squad for the chaplain, I'm buying it for my Centurion, and then after he's got a command squad, then he's a chaplain.
That right there is the argument that I think a lot of people have used or can use or may use. And that kind of makes it where please give us a fact comes in.
Yep.
But ignoring that, these guys I feel are actually better than veteran squads. Because with a veteran squad, 10 dudes, you're coming out 25 points less than a Centurion, and you don't have line.
So, just thinking out loud, with my stupid Legion that I always play, and their goofy Rights of War. If you take the Storm of War, which is the Stormwing, which is basically just all troops or troop types, if you have like near maxed out squads, you get basically a basic Legion Centurion to go with the squad.
Yep.
This would be a huge. You'd be talking about it like I don't see how could you join these onto that squad with the Centurion?
No.
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 No, I don't think you could. Ooh, actually, hold on. I just thought of another place where this squad can actually be even worse. Oh.
But anyway, there I was, covered in motor oil.
Yeah, so okay, I'm wrong. The Night Lord's Right of War, Swift Blade, all your extra HQs have to have a jet bike or a combat bike. And these guys cannot get those. So that kind of gimps that idea. Sorry, I got a coughing fit there.
It's okay.
But yeah, if you're someone who likes to play with having extra space in your actual HQ slots and wants to throw some veterans in there, it's not a bad place to do it, is including these guys with a generic Centurion if you have a spare HQ slot, because that kind of lets you have another line unit and it's another HQ slot and not part of your very crowded elite slots these days.
Yep. And as we've all experienced before, and I've kind of been complaining about, line is definitely needed. It's 2/3 of the basic book missions, and it's also becoming more and more available in people's custom missions.
Yes, it is. I know that for a fact. I've been working on custom missions lately myself, and line is featuring heavily.
I mean, I guess you could make this. I guess you could make this It's kind of a very flexible, I don't know, as you said, vet squad that can sit on it can either go big game hunting, or it can sit. You can equip them to sit on an objective and just snipe and shoot stuff before it gets to you.
Yep. Or hell, just put them on a backfield objective and give them all the sniper rifles along with the sniper rifle in your Centurion. I mean, they're going to be relentless.
Well, you can throw heavy bolters or some missile launchers on them too.
Yeah,
having relentless is big. Like there's very few basic power armor units that have relentless, especially with access to weapons.
Yep. I mean, they don't get access to a lot of the specialized gear for the specific legions, but this squad can definitely be tooled up to be something that's punchy in close combat and really potent in shooting.
Yeah, I think I think they excel more in the shooting part of it because they don't have they don't have the availability of the artificer armor.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And they're BS what? 4 or 5?
Yep, they're BS 4, weapon skill 5. They're obviously designed to be.
My weapon skill helps too if you get charged with your relentless unit.
Yep. I mean, if you were to, the Magna Combi weapon, the melting guns I've been putting on the ones I've been dealing with, and the Nimbus Pulsar on all of them costs identical. So, I mean, you could make a really nasty squad that's going to sit there, shoot everything, hold that objective in your backfield, use Nemesis rifles to snipe things across the table, and then when they finally do get to you, you're a nasty little pincushion in close combat that's better than most things are going to get to you or on par weapon skill wise. So you may not have artificer armor and you may get killed quicker.
Yeah.
But you're better than vets, your leadership 9, and your line. So if you have a command at HQ slot you're not using, these guys are a really good option for that with a bare naked Centurion.
Yeah. Bare Naked Centurion. It's a great band name. No.
Yep, sure.
It was 2 weeks since I found them there.
Way,
Sorry.
I mean, if you're using them that way, you're not going to buy them a transport.
Right. And that was that was one of my biggest issues with this is that the transport options were very limited. And like the designated transport options were very limited for them.
Yep. So even with a Centurion without a transport and with everybody having those weapons, you're at 394 points. I've spent more points on less useful gear and less useful dudes in a game more times than I can count.
That's a Kratos right there.
I always ran a Dreadnought in first ed, so there's those points.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way of putting it, Jack.
Yeah.
And it's something that even ignoring the Shattered Legions, but putting it into like any one of the other regular legions, they're really not bad at all. I mean, they're a good choice.
They make for a really interesting choice in Zone Mortalis.
Oh?
They would only count for 2 resource points if you deployed them on the field pre-game. And because they have the banner, they're a great way of getting a tough, pretty usable melee unit that's pretty quick out onto the field.
Yeah.
And Artificer armor is not as big of a deal in that. You don't have to worry about the troop transport options, obviously.
Well, and it looks like they can also take a lot of template weapons too, which is always a good thing in ZM, right?
Yep.
Yep. Having access to all the different combis and all that.
You could have every single one of them with a flamer or a combi flamer. So in ZM,
you give them all chain swords.
Yeah. That's a really nice option. Yeah, I personally big fan. Yes, you don't get the console types bonuses, but you get a fun unit that's got line to it that kind of gives you more options for things to do with it. I know back when we first started talking about them, I thought they were kind of no, but since then, my opinion on them has greatly changed. I think they've actually become something that's a very worthwhile combat unit.
I'm still going with it. I'm still going with
how you use them.
Yeah, I was going to say they're kind of situational, I think, for me. But
they are, but where my situation is get there as close as possible,
right,
as fast as possible. I a lot of times am not using other console types or anything while pounding up to get as close in close combat as quickly as possible, and that means I'm foregoing a lot of shooting. So having these guys and the ability to pop them out of the middle of nowhere at the top of turn 2, right when the rest of my stuff is typically getting their lines, means that I'm going to have more of an option for someone else to sit there and murder with melta guns to get stuff open so I can get to the ooey gooey Marines inside or what have you inside and then commence to the chain axing. So
yeah, remember you can charge the unit that comes out of the transport you just killed during your shooting phase. So you can always use them as the last. Oh, I got one more hull point left to pop on this vehicle. These guys are just in range. Pop. Oh, I got them. Bam.
Yep. Bingo. I mean, it's absolutely an interesting thing. I think they are a lot better than given previous opinions.
Yeah, we all kind of poo-pooed them at the beginning, but this definitely opened my eyes on them.
Yeah. especially
I really wonder at the viability of using a single unit like this or a vet squad in a drop pod. Although this squad would be better because they could be scoring and just getting that delayed deployment and then dropping them off in the middle of nowhere to take an objective or to harass a flank that's suffering badly for the enemy. I wonder how viable that would be.
I don't know. So the entire reason that I started looking at these guys for myself is because I have, for my Sons of Horus, I have a veteran squad that I built and painted, and in essence, I don't use because they were a suicide plasma squad. I have a suicide plasma squad there that I really can't use because my vet squads are full, or my elite squads are all used, or choices, whatever. You know what I mean? But using these with a throwaway Centurion, they cost about the same, and I can scratch points elsewhere. So it's really not a bad idea for me to start thinking about using them. Hence my bringing it up. Jack, any comments?
No. I just remember not liking your suicide plasma squads. I didn't like those at all.
See, that's the thing. I kind of did, and I know they were suicide bomb squads like that were fairly common in other places. So, I mean, I can't use them to drop out of a pod and charge now, but for a nasty backlines appearing thing while the rest of my guys are getting right at the same time into your main line, I think it's a good idea. So, people who face me on the tabletop, you might want to start looking out. Those guys might start showing up again. Who knows? We'll see.
So do you think the banner is needed for him?
Absolutely. Line is absolutely desperately needed for the squad. Otherwise,
there's not a whole lot of point taking them.
No, just because it could, if you can shoot someone off of an objective and land onto that objective yourself, just being able to contest an objective in someone's backfield, or heck, even take an objective that they can't have because they don't have line themselves, it just makes it a wonderful option and a good choice.
Okay.
And 20 points isn't terrible for that.
No,
like the whole unit.
I mean, how much is melt-a-bombs that most of us take on most every Centurion we take, and half of us never use? 10 points?
5.
Okay,
I don't remember. It's normally the last thing I click when I have extra points.
Yeah, and exactly that. So now you won't have melt-a-bombs. Oh no, how sad is that? You won't have a random character who never gets to combat and never uses their melt-a-bombs. Instead, you'll have this squad with line. I think it makes a much better choice. So there. Units that get slept on way too much. Company command squad.
I'm doing math right now.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Dangerous.
Oh no.
Especially with me doing math.
Yeah, I think a lightning claw maybe in there too, just to deter getting bogged down by basic chaff marines.
But wouldn't like
weapon skills.
I was gonna say but if it's got the Centurion in there, you're probably going to put something better on the Centurion than.
Yeah, so on the Centurion, I was throwing a Thunderhammer on there, but on the regular guys, it's 5 points for a Lightning Claw or a power weapon, or 2 points for a chain axe or chainsaword.
I'm just thinking out of 10 dudes just throw. I was thinking out of 10 dudes just throw one guy with double claws. It's not that much of a loss of firepower.
No, it's really not. And that gives you a nasty little Ginsu in there. Even if you didn't throw the regular power weapons in there, throw one dude with double claw, and then maybe throw 1 or 2 more claws in there. I mean, you're going to shred people. And when they get to you, you're going to have some of that AP6 or some of that rending 6. So I mean, that's not a bad option in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Okay, so if that hit that nail on the head, what are some other non-talked about slept-on units, forgotten in the annals of history units that are out there?
I couldn't even tell you the last time I took a regular Terminator squad.
You mean the good old fashioned four weapon skill Cataphracti squad or a Tartaros squad, or either?
Either.
If you'd like us to take a look at any of these slept-on things, just let us know, gentle viewers.
Do. Yeah, I mean, we've got the Discord, we've got the email, we've got the Facebook. We will happily re-examine anything that you feel that has not been given enough attention.
And bonus points for if you tell us how you use them.
Indeed.
So you do the math that I was doing is if for all my armies have to be all my troops have to be in transports, like rhinos or whatever. And so typically the Kratos tanks that I run are like 390, and this with the Centurion would be 458. I put them with Nemesis bolters on everybody, and then 2 missile launchers basically with chainswords. So
yeah.
I mean, what I would use it for is basically sniping and sitting on an objective near where I start from. So
yeah, it's exactly exactly what I think they're built for. That or being a suicide veteran squad, but better.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it would give me another scoring option out of what I would normally run. So,
there's another squad out there that I really don't like talking about that I really think needs to get talked about and looked at and given a very, very deep second look.
What's that?
The Nullificators.
Are they still a thing?
Yeah, I like them.
They're a really nasty unit that nobody really pays attention to.
Well, they never really had official models, so that kind of hurt them. So they're a Legacies unit, which is another thing that a lot of people are sleeping on the Legacy stock as well.
Yep.
They also got some crazy upgrades when they went from 1.0 to 2.0. They lost some of their random banishment abilities, but they gained disintegrators, which is a psychotic gun that they didn't have access to before.
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, it's 20 points each for a disintegrator. That is range 24, strength 5, AP 2, rapid fire, instant death, and gets hot. I mean,
just think Mars attacks gun.
Yeah.
I didn't convert any of mine to have disintegrators because that wasn't there before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to personally convert any just because I think that the idea of possibly throwing these guys down and then murking giant squads with instant death guns might be a bit much, but it's definitely a thing, and they're definitely a bastard of a unit because they're in Cataphracti. I mean, you can take a pod with them as a dedicated transport. I mean, yes, it's a Dreadclaw, so that's a good thing. But dropping these guys down and then choosing to go, oh, there's that giant command squad of Justarin. Let's go ahead and shoot 5 dudes at it, and oh look, 7 or 8 of the Justarin have now fallen over dead because of instant death AP2 weapons. I mean, it can get ugly, and then you can sit there and murk out characters as well. So I think Nullificators are a nasty unit that also needs to get a second look. But again, there's a couple squads out there that people really sleep on. And talking about nullificators and other squads is something else we could really go into depth at another time about. And another good one would be destroyers that people absolutely ignore.
I love
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't like destroyers, but I like destroyers a lot.
Yeah.
I wish they weren't in elite. I wish they were a fast attack. I would definitely take them more often if they were a fast attack. But
I'm building 3 squads right now, where I've got 3 as part of that big prime block I've got.
playing with my Blood Angels and using the Angels tiers with those definitely gave me new appreciation for destroyers and stuff they can do in their nonsense. Anyway, we've rambled at you all long enough, I think, tonight. Does anyone disagree? Or do we feel like calling it a night here?
Yeah, I think let's call it. And look forward to seeing anybody who wants to join us on Thursday night.
And also, we have hobby hangout on Wednesday. It's usually pretty crazy. We usually get a pretty, at least 10 plus every Wednesday night. Sometimes it's even closer to 20. So if you want to come out and hang and just shoot the breeze.
And it's not like crazy. It's civilized. So people take turns talking. There's not a lot of yelling going on.
Yep. It's a friendly gathering of similar-minded hobbyists who just want to be able to talk with friends and have friendly chat while doing their hobby stuff.
Yep. And like some guys just come in to talk and they're playing video games or doing something else. You don't have to be doing hobbies.
No.
So
we just like having people who are our friends from around the wherever come in and hang out while we do stuff.
I got a couple of one-liners.
Oh.
Don't forget about the contest.
Yeah.
Because we didn't mention that at all.
You're right. John, what is the current contest that we're running?
Yeah, so we're episode 95 right now, but
94
right now. So
numbers are hard.
99, you need to. Well, I'm also very tired. You need to make sure to have posted on our Discord contest channel. Yep, on our contest channel, your favorite part of the podcast, and you will be entered to win a copy of End of the Death Volume 3 Collector's Edition. That's the signed leatherback version. And we'll be drawing for that on episode 99 and announcing it on episode 100.
Yep.
Which reminds me, we did miss one piece of news. The final map is going to be released next weekend as well.
I know what Duncan's getting.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
The final map?
Oh, no.
It's the final map down.
No.
Duncan not being in town.
Duncan won't be in town.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see if I can help you out, buddy.
I appreciate the hell out of that, sir, because, I'm going to need that to complete the collection.
And then speaking of that, we are off next weekend.
Yep.
So that gives you an extra week to enter the contest.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pray for Duncan and me in our travels, and Jack too, because Jack's always traveling.
Jack is a traveling man. Everywhere he goes, every week.
Lord, I'm sorry.
Yep.
But anyway, don't forget about the contest, events that we shouted out last week. I know there was a lot of them that we talked about at the end of it, but refer back to that podcast for all of them because it was a lot.
Yeah. Yep. And we do have
late September we've got Warzone Houston coming up again, and so I'll talk through with Lucas, and he and I will both be going down to that one. So look forward to seeing anyone that's going to be there.
Cool. Coming up over the month of September, we will have Ben on from Nova to do a recap of how Nova went for us from the event runner's perspective. We do have a special guest that I will not be announcing early. Everyone here knows who it is, and I think it's one of the really big lore master names out there who people pay a lot of. Some people pay a lot of attention to, and other people's don't.
Michael Stackpole. It was Michael Stackpole, right?
Yes, it's Michael Stackpole. No, it's not Michael Stackpole.
Damn it.
But he'll be going into a pretty deep theory on a question that has been around since the beginning of 40K and the beginning of Warhammer in space in general. So I think that'll be a fun topic to go over with him.
Is it who swung first, Sanguinar or Horus?
No,
Damn.
no, but it does have to do with maybe them or their brothers. So we'll see.
Are we talking about the second Primarch, Jimmy Buffett?
It might be talking about the second prophet or the second Primarch, and it might be talking about the other missing Primarch. Who knows?
Why Russ has trouble counting.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. But that's coming up later this month, so we'll discuss that then when we get to there.
Yep, and
Anyway,
we'll try to get some. We'll try to get some more people on here to talk about upcoming and current events. Not events, not events.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can get Lucas to come on and talk about the event this weekend. There was some pretty cool stuff that I saw.
Lucas, Blake.
Yeah, Blake.
Heck, maybe we should get Kenneth on here, Duncan.
Yeah, we could definitely get Ken on here.
So, but all right, I think that nails it on the head. Duncan, do you want to tell John to take us out of here?
John, Jack says take us out of here, sir.
Absolutely. I've been John, and tonight I've been joined.
Okay, hold on. Let me step on there for that. Would you say that again without the yawn?
Yeah, so I'm John. Tonight I've been joined by
Brian.
Brian, did you fall asleep?
Brian fell asleep.
Brian fell asleep.
Probably entering a tunnel.
I think I'm here. Hold on.
Say goodbye,
Did you
Brian.
hear me?
No,
Yeah,
we didn't hear you.
No, we did not.
Well, you're joined by Brian.
And Duncan.
The most professional of Jack.
And finally, me, Jamie.
Remember to stay accountable to yourself, to your buddy, and to your hobby, and we'll talk to you next time.
John, go to bed.
Yes, John, get some sleep.
Go to bed, brother.
I already went to bed.
That's fair.
All right, and
Like and subscribe, and see ya.